everyone, I'm here with another tutorial. I apologize if you hear like popping noises in the mic. I don't have a filter on it. But today I wanted to kind of talk about something I've been studying myself. Oh, sorry. Oh my gosh, it's so dry where I live. But yeah, I wanted to talk about something I think all of us kind of have to deal with as artists, and I wanted to share with you my thoughts on it. So I recently watched a PCAT video about drawing squares, and she made a few good points, but I wanted to share my opinions and how I feel about like what I do or what I've been learning the last few days, because truth is I'm not good at it, but I've learned a lot, so I'm gonna share this with you. So now I would recommend going to watch her video, because she has a lot of really good points in there. But one thing she was basically saying is that everything has squares. So if we're gonna go to this one, this is a page in a comic I'm working on, and it's very nice. But we're gonna break this down here. You see, there's the perspective. Everything. So basically, everything is drawn in perspective. And if you want to be more professional, then you kind of got to learn how to draw things in perspective. And um, so squares are one of the best ways you can do that. And we're just going to draw a square here. I'm just going to go like that. I usually go over my lines more than once just because and but yeah, so one of the points that Pigat made in her video is that when you're drawing a cube, you don't have to use these vanishing lines. When you make things more complex, then yeah, you'll probably want to use them for just making things easier on you, and just making your art look more competent. I guess I am not at all competent, but you get my point. But when you're just drawing a cube, you just want to make it look like, see, as if I'm like drawing these lines out, they kind of start to get smaller. And actually I kind of screwed up on that one there. I'm gonna draw over that a bit. But yeah, you'll see that they all kind of like merge at one point or another. Now they don't exactly, like on this cube specifically, the perspective isn't perfect, but it doesn't have to be, as long as it looks like it's going off into the distance and it's pretty close to where it needs to be. It's, I think the best thing any artist can do is just not stress too much about their art being perfect, and this is a good example. You just want to make sure that it's kind of sort of merging in the distance at a vanishing point. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is when you're drawing something like a square, a trick I've learned, and it is very helpful, is to always so a square has 6 sides, and when you're drawing a square, I would recommend drawing the side that is going to be closest to the camera first, because that is a really good way to start. It is basically going to be the base of your entire cube, and it just helps make things a lot easier on you. So yeah, I'm going to draw this, and when you are drawing something more complex, like a simple skeleton, it also makes your life way, way easier. But yeah, and I can't remember if she touched on this in the video, but I highly recommend when you do this, basically, when you've drawn a cube, or even just a plain old rectangle if it's in perspective, draw an X, like basically connect the corners, because whatever that center line is, that's going to be the most accurate point of perspective. Because as things get further away, like, you know, from here and from here, then they're going to get smaller, right? And the best way to figure out where that is by drawing an X through it, because that center line is going to be the most accurate way to do that. I don't know, I'm talking in circles. But yeah, so basically that's how you do that. I'm just gonna, I have weird like things I just like to make my drawings complete when I'm doing them. I couldn't deal with just the rectangle. I had to make it a full 3D cube. But yeah, and before we get into the kind of basic skeleton, I also wanted to talk about cylinders. So cylinders are kind of tricky at first, but once you got them down, they're pretty easy. So actually, the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to draw a square. Now, if you want to get into more detail about stuff like this, I highly recommend looking up a course on industrial design. There's a really good one. I can't remember the name of it, but that guy basically covers all of the basic stuff you need to know if you're just getting into art and not really design itself. And he's really good. I'll put a link if I can find it. But yeah, so we have this cube here, and now one thing that PCAT basically said was like, oh, you can just use, if you put like a cross through it, you can use that as kind of your marker. I mean, yeah, that works to a degree, but if you want like more complex stuff, then I would highly recommend learning this technique. So basically, we're going to draw a line. This is going to be the center line of our cylinder. And then we're going to make crosses at the end of it. And this is always going to be parallel to the line you draw. So, you know, we're going to draw like this. We're going to draw it like this. Yeah, so it's always going to be like parallel to the line you draw. And this longer line is going, sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to explain this. So basically, this longer line, which is basically going to be the center of your cylinder, this is going to be the closest point to the camera. So anytime the cylinder shifts, like rotates, it'll appear narrower or wider depending on what the angle is. So, and I'll explain that more here in a second, but yeah, so basically we're going to do the same thing over here. Just get our shorter line and our longer line, and those will be our markers. Now, when I do this, I just draw a cylinder and draw through it, and then just kind of try to do a cylinder that's roughly the same size. But this is just you know, for beginners who want to get into more complex stuff. And this same rule applies if you're like drawing like something like this S shape here. You know, we're just gonna draw some markers here, and then we basically just connect these ends of each one here, you know. Sorry, this is also something I'm trying to get more familiar with. I'm not very good at it. But So now we're gonna take this point here and this point here and connect it, and this point here and this point here and connect it. And I'm gonna thicken up these edges. Oh, sorry, I keep zooming in. That's my bad. I'd highly recommend not doing that because you get way too caught up on details you don't need to get caught up on. So, and there you go. That's going to be the outside. So, or wait, no, that's going to be the end. That's going to be away, facing away. So yeah, there you go. That is your first cylinder. Ta-da. So what I was explaining basically about this end always being shorter. Now, unless a circle is facing straight on towards you, it's not going to be like this. Now, if we're going like a little bit, oh, no. Darn it. Let's move this here, and actually, I'm going to copy and paste this. Copy. Now, if I move this, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. So if we're gonna like rotate it a little bit, a little bit to the right, and we're gonna free transform it, and we're just gonna squish it down. So if it's just moving like a little bit to the right, the circle itself is going to appear it's going to appear more narrow, you know. And circles are also kind of strange where like they don't really, they just give off this like oval shape. Unless they're like really big, you're not really going to notice a bunch of warping in perspective. So this is a pretty good standard rule, you know. So, and then, you know, if you're, so this is going to be rotated a little bit to the right. So, you know, we're gonna see a little bit of this, and yeah, there you go. So when we're drawing, I'm gonna delete that, delete this. So yeah, you can basically, I'm pretty sure you guys are smart enough to figure this out by now. So, you know, we're just kind of gonna, oh, my bad, I didn't mean to do that. So how I usually go about it is I kind of just draw, what do they call it? It's not a sphere. A sphere is three-dimensional. Is it an oval? It might be an oval. I don't know. But yeah, so basically we're gonna kind of start in the middle at this part, and you can see this oval slanted ellipse. That's what it's called. Sorry. And we're gonna kind of bring it this way, and then let's just assume this this cylinder here is really big, so we're gonna kind of bring it like that, or it could be a horn. Either way. But yeah, there you go. This is a bit, you know, bit of a dramatic angle. You can go with something a little bit lighter here. Just gonna make this about just a little bit smaller. And yeah, there you go. So basically, just depending on what angle you want it to be at, if you want it to be a little more, you know, you you want it to be a little more head on, then you can do this. Now when it's kind of like this, you can kind of get away with making it like more like closer to a circle. And yeah, there you go. Now the thing I like to do when I am drawing, when I am, you know, practicing the kind of like basic skeleton is when I draw arms, I draw these kind of like, I wouldn't say they're three-dimensional. They're just kind of there. They're just circles in space. These kind of mark the joints of the arms. So let's say the slightly bigger one is the shoulder. Sorry, I'm actually going to scooch in here and adjust this. This bigger one here is the shoulder. We're kind of making him do like a strong man pose here. You know, gonna kind of make it look like that, and then we're gonna do a smaller one for the joint, and then bring that up. Now this is for another video, but you know, you don't want your arms to be like perfectly straight. You don't want any part of the body to be perfectly straight, otherwise it just doesn't look right. Unless it's like a super cartoony character, then yeah, it can be kind of straight. But yeah, we're gonna draw the hand here. And then I'm just going to take my soft eraser, bring it over here. Now, usually I add more detail than this, but this is just kind of a proof of concept, I guess. Bring the muscle. And yeah, there you go. See how all those things go together? Now, if you want to do like a full body, I wouldn't recommend using cylinders for the torso or the pelvis, really. You can kind of draw those in different ways. My favorite way to do it is kind of like do like these two almost like cones. But I've been trying to get better at, like, you know, doing more in like complicated perspective. So this is kind of what I've been using to kind of practice a bit. So we're just gonna go like that. Go like that. Okay, and this will be our torso, and I'm gonna make our pelvis. So now I'm sorry if you know, what I'm saying is a little hard to comprehend. I'm not great at explaining things. And I didn't really plan this video ahead. I'm just kind of winging it. So I'm just gonna go with this and hope it works. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna scale that up a bit. You know, want to get the proportions right, but that's also for another video. So yeah, and then I think, you know, we're kind of going into a twist here, like this is going this way, this is turning this way, all good. And then I think I'm going to do the head kind of like that. Now, I don't typically, there are other ways to draw you know, this stuff. Like, I don't typically draw the head like this. But once again, another time, another video. I'm just kind of, I'm mostly focusing on like the primitive shapes for right now, and that's what you should be practicing. Primitive shapes are always important, and I honestly wish I had done more to practice them sooner, because I'd probably be a lot more further along than I am now. But you know, we all make mistakes, right? And hindsight is always 2020. But yeah, so now I'm going to, like I showed you earlier, I'm going to make like this slightly bigger circle, the shoulder, and I think to make things a little easier on myself, I'm going to draw the back side of this cube too. Okay, so this part's going up, so is this part. Okay, that's good enough. If it works, that's okay. Shout out to my guy Lixian. Love that guy. But yeah, so now I'm going to get to the arms. So usually when I'm trying to figure out where I want the arms to be, I'll just do a line, maybe a dot to kind of mark. But I'm not really liking that pose. Let's do kind of like that. Kind of like cross, and he's like shocked. He's like putting his hand up. He's like, oh no. I'll put this one a little bit more down. Yeah, if you want a more like I guess deep dive into like proportions and stuff, I highly recommend checking out Robert Marzullo. He has some great tutorials. Same with Ed Foychuk, also great. But yeah, so now that we have an idea of where we want the arms to be, I'm just gonna do this. Sorry, I'm kind of glazing over this stuff, but that's because I'm, like I said, just focusing on cubes. Cubes are great. Like I said earlier, you never want this stuff to be too straight. Once again, different time, different video. Nah, that's not right. It's got to be more like, because you know, you want those points where the circle meets itself to be like parallel to the line. And that applies for kind of any type of line, whether it's curved or not. So let's go here. Let's do that. And there you go. So I'm kind of gonna, I'm just gonna draw over this real quick, make it kind of simple. There you go. I guess I could have done a better job with that. Oh well, it happens. Like I said, I'm still learning too, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just, everyone goes at their own pace, and like I said, I just started learning boxes, and I'm just here to share what I've learned. Just kind of gonna do like a, do like a butt. Like that butt. Oh, hey, Baron. It's a dog. Just gonna, I don't like that. So yeah, as you can see, just a simple shape, and you're basically just turning all these simple shapes into like you're using the simplicity of it to understand the more complex shapes better. So yeah, there you go. Hopefully this was helpful, and I hope you guys like this video. I'm trying to post more of these. Just trying to. I've kind of started getting views on shorts, not really likes or even a following for that matter. But people have started noticing my stuff, so I thought I'd post some tutorials on how to do this kind of stuff, and I hope you guys liked it. I'll talk to you later. Bye.